Salvete discipuli. As we continue now the story Matrona Ephesia, we are about to learn that the lady of Ephesus, who has gone to die of starvation in the tomb of her dead husband, is not alone in this graveyard. Imperator provinciae latrones crucibus iusit affigi secundum illam casulam, in qua recens cadaver matrona deflebat. The emperor. Now, I'm translating this word as emperor, but the fact is this story was written at the time of the Emperor Nero, and the fact that this is the Imperator provinciae, in other words, the emperor of the province, genitive singular ending here, means probably this really just means like the leader of the province. Now, provinces of the Roman Empire had governors or procurators or things like that, but the word imperator in earlier times just meant like a leader. But we're going to leave it translated as emperor here. Ordered. We run to use it. Okay, now this verb takes a direct object. In other words, you order someone to do something, or you order something to be done to someone. Either way, the object of usit is going to be latrones, thieves. So he ordered thieves. Now, what he ordered thieves, not to do something, but he ordered something to be done to these thieves. We are going to need a passive infinitive, okay? So he ordered thieves to be nailed on. Now, the verb affigere is the active infinitive, to nail on. You change this to a passive infinitive, you remove this ending, and you change it just to an I, and now we have the passive infinitive, to be nailed on, okay? And it's going to have an ablative here, the thing he ordered the thieves to be nailed on, namely crosses. Where did he order these thieves to be nailed on crosses? Secundum illam casulam, next to that little house. Now, I've supplied you with this picture to give you an idea of what's going on here. This little crypt in which a lady is mourning over the body of her dead husband, it's in the shape of like a little house, but when you go through the door, basically, there are stairs going down to like a basement. In qua, the lady, Matrona, she's going to be the subject of the verb deflebat, in which the lady, deflebat, was weeping over. What was she weeping over? Recens cadaver will be the object. It's a neuter noun. We get the English word cadaver, so I've translated it as the recent cadaver, but you could maybe tweak that translation to something like weeping over like the recently departed body of her husband, okay? But literally, recens cadaver, recent cadaver. Proxima ergo nocte, cum miles, qui cruces asservabat, ne quis ad sepulturam corpus detraheret, notasset lumen inter monumenta. On the next night, therefore, okay, so nocte and proxima going with it are ablative endings. This is what's called an ablative of time. When you have units of time in the ablative just hanging out on their own like this, you translate it as in that unit of time or on that unit of time. Ergo just means therefore, okay? So proxima nocte, on the next night, therefore, cum miles, when a soldier, now the main verb is going to be down here, notasset, okay? So cum here, meaning when, takes this pluperfect subjunctive verb here, but we're going to have a whole bunch of clauses before we get to the main verb. So when a soldier qui asservabat, who was watching over. Direct object of the verb asservabat is cruces, who was watching over the crosses. Now, Now, we're going to hear why he was watching over the crosses. Now, nay means lest. Now, lest means so that not, okay? Now, there's a weird thing in Latin. The word aliquis means anyone, okay? But when you have the word nay, meaning lest or so that not, and also the word si, meaning if, for some reason, when you have the word aliquis immediately following those words, you remove the ali, you throw it away, but the word still means the same as aliquis. So ne quis means so that no one, or in this case, lest anyone do what? Detraheret, might drag away. Drag away what? Corpus, a body. Talking about the bodies that are on those crosses. Drag them away for what? Ad sepulturam, to burial. Here's the cultural reality behind this. When the Romans crucified someone, what they liked to do was leave the bodies on the crosses for days, okay, until they actually started to rot. This was a way to basically humiliate all of the family and friends of the person who had been crucified. You would basically be so humiliated that you would want to do anything you could to avoid ever being crucified. That's the idea, okay? So if they just crucified these people and then left, well, what the families would immediately go do is they'd go get these bodies down off those crosses and give them a proper burial so that their shame was over. But the Romans want those people's shame to endure. And so what they've done, they've actually told this soldier to go station himself, guard those bodies on the crosses. Now, these men are already dead. Seriously. This is not a matter of if you've seen biblical movies of Jesus dying on the cross. No, these guys are already dead. He's guarding these crosses to make sure that the people don't get those bodies off the crosses so as to prolong the shame of these families. So, back to the main verb. When a soldier, who did all that, had noticed, notaset. What had he noticed? Lumen, a light. Where had he noticed it? Inter monumenta, among the monuments. So the soldier is here, and it's now night, okay? He's going to be polling basically a 12-hour shift, okay? He's going to be there all night. Let's say he arrives around sundown and he relieves the soldier that was there before. Now he's going to be there all night long. Some other soldier is going to arrive and kind of relieve him of duty. And so when the other soldier arrives, he's going to be told, okay, you're going to go to that cemetery, and there's a couple of guys on the crosses. Now, what we don't know, by the way, it just says latrones. We don't know how many. It's at least two. Okay, it's at least two because it wasn't singular. Okay, so when the other person arrives in the morning, he's basically told there's dead bodies on the crosses, and so your job is to make sure they stay there. We're guarding those crosses. We want the family's shame to continue. And then that guy's going to be free to go. Okay, so now keep in mind, our present soldier, he is on a 12-hour shift. It's going to be a long night, and he noticed something weird. There is a light down inside one of those tombs. Presumably the lady, even though she's decided to die of starvation down in that tomb, she's brought a lamp. I guess she doesn't want to sit in utter darkness. Okay, so she's brought a lamp, and she's got a lamp down inside that tomb, and as a result, the soldier has noticed this. Lumen clarius fulgens vidisset, et gemitum lugentis audisset. Okay, so we're picking up from the previous sentence. We still have the cum milites, and these are still pluperfect subjunctive verbs following cum milites, when the soldier. Okay, so when he had seen lumen, again, what kind of a lumen? Clarius fulgens, shining clearly, and et audisset, and had heard what? Gemitum, the sob. The sob of whom? The sob of one mourning. Now, we have already seen, this author likes to describe the lady, the Matrona Ephesia, he likes to describe her with present active participles. So she is mourning, so the sob of one mourning. This is genitive singular ending here. Okay, so the last sentence we will study today. Miles, vitio gentis humanae, concupe et scire, quis aut quid faceret. Okay, so the soldier. Vitio is ablative. Okay, vitio is ablative. Vitium being the noun. With the weakness, what kind of a weakness? Gentis humanae, the weakness of the human race. Now, what this is he's talking about curiosity, okay? This soldier, what he's supposed to do is just guard those bodies on those crosses. He is supposed to stand there all night long and just look around, and if anyone starts to come up, he's going to like wave his sword and tell them, you get away, I'm going to make these bodies stay on those crosses all night long. That's my job. What he's supposed to do is just that, okay? But look, he's only human. He's curious. He wonders, what in the world is that light coming out of that tomb? What in the world is that sound of sobbing? Okay, so with the weakness of the human race, concupe et scire, he wanted to know. Okay, now, this verb, by the way, concupiscence, is like not just to want, it's to desire, okay? And if you think the word desire might have a sexual connotation, it does in the word concupiscence. Concupiscence is a kind of a lustful desire. So the fact that the author is using this is actually a foreshadowing of the fact that, let's be honest, I told you already, this is the greatest Finding Love in a Graveyard story you're going to read this year. And now, obviously, the soldier is the only other human being in the story, who's alive. And so for it to say the soldier wanted, if you know what I mean, to know, that's kind of the implication of the verb concupiit. He wanted to know. What he wanted to know was quis aut quid. Who or what. Faceret literally just means might do something or might make something. But the understanding is he wanted to know who or what might do, namely this, okay? And the this is producing the light and the noises of the sobbing, okay? So that's what he wants to know, okay? As the story continues in the next installment, he is going to go down into that tomb and he's going to meet the lady.